Hey everyone, I had a really fun conversation with Tobi Lütke, CEO of Shopify, about the importance of joy in productivity, his passion for being a tool maker, and also his views about AI being an expectation for all his employees. Of course, he also shared what's in his Raycast, especially how he uses hotkeys. Spoiler alert, he uses hyperkey a lot, window management, and his own custom script commands. So here's the interview, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. You might notice I'm smiling a lot. It's because I'm very happy that you're here, and I'm a little bit nervous. So it's gonna be more mellow as we start talking. Toby, I'm really curious to talk with you and understand a bit more about how you manage to be so productive. So you've already accomplished so much, right? From Snow Devil to Shopify, to being a huge contributor in open source, also being the OG of developer experience, which I'm not sure people have been calling you the OG of DX. But to me, I honestly feel like you're one of the original gangsters of coming up with the term, even though you might not have coined the term developer experience, but having this developer-centric way that you run your business. So as someone who's very passionate about DX and worked in DX for a long time, I feel like you deserve the OG credit here.
That's really kind. That's really kind. You're making a big assumption on productivity, but I think we'll talk more about productivity and productivity tooling.
I would like to go back to the very beginning, but not the very beginning of everything that you've done, because there's so much content on this. But I want to go back to the very beginning of how did you even discover Raycast? Were you using a launcher before that as well?
Yeah. So I was. Here's why I think this is you guys asked if I would join the podcast. I said yes, partly because I love tools. I'm a tool maker, right? Like I'm fundamentally, I make tools that help other people be the best possible entrepreneurs. Often, I hope that the tools I make, Shopify, are inspiring people to aim even higher than they otherwise would have. I got inspired myself by Ruby on Rails. I was a lifelong Linux user, and I always had very custom desktops and so on, and missed tools. I eventually switched to a Mac. I discovered, I think, Quicksilver, which was one of the first launcher tools like this, and so all this to say, I was predisposed to. I was hoping someone would go deeper in the launcher world. I just feel like it's so clear that there was latent power, that no one was kind of creating the right tool to access it all. There were some attempts. I think I tried Albert or something like this. Maybe I misremember this. Then Apple did Spotlight, and I was like, all right, at least it could launch things if you type.
Yeah.
And so maybe I tried, sometimes I get into kicks of hey, let's just use my operating system without anything else, just to try on the full vision of Apple, I suppose. And then I'm very quickly wanted my launchers back. So anyway, I was, I think I saw it come by, someone talking about it on X. It must have been pretty close to when it launched, and totally fell in love.
I feel like Twitter and general word of mouth has been the biggest growth channel for Raycast, which is kind of insane to think about. People love it so much they want to share with other people.
Yeah, and by the way, that's a very actionable thing. This is called delight. When people are delighted, then they want to share this. And delight comes from then your expectations were lower than actual experience. So experience minus expectations. If that's a positive number, that is the amount of delight caused. And I think it's one of the best. The one weird trick in the world of business that actually works is goes so deep to solving the problem that your product is just going to outperform expectations, and then people are sharing the delight on social, and then your business grows. And I think that's it's simple, but of course not easy. And
Yeah,
so,
100%.
but when you come across tools, experience, travel, like whatever places, people, like whatever, all these things, people also deeply want to share their experiences. So it's very good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you love both like softwares and hardware. So like software tools, but also hardware tools. And I know that, the whole thing with mechanical keyboard, that can be like a massive rabbit hole. I got sucked into this rabbit hole once and I was like, wow, I had no idea it went that deep. I think you are a mechanical keyboard fan. If I did my research well, you use a Wooten keyboard alongside a Final mouse. And I'm curious, as as someone who's also a mechanical keyboard lover and stuff, is the keyboard your primary source of input, or do you use the mouse as well?
The funny thing is, like, I am not a keyboard maximalist, although I basically only use a keyboard, but I don't mind the mouse. Like, I just, this is very funny because like a lot of people are like, especially sort of in the very deep, like the Vim Emacs users, like they always kind of try to explain the superiority of what of their preferred tooling by that you never need to touch the horrible thing that is the mouse. Mice are pretty awesome things themselves. That being said, like I do I just find, I mean, keyboards are basically like a game console controller for for the machine that causes your work, right? Like, so it's I'm a pretty heavy keybinder in general. I was a StarCraft player, right? So like it's like creating control groups is kind of a very obvious thing to do, and
Yeah.
so I want to use my machines in a similar way.
I'm asking that because I feel like ultimately all of these things, all of these decisions that people make, it kind of boils down to productivity as well. Like how quickly can you do something? How many clicks or how many keystrokes until you go from A to B? And some people are really precious and really adamant about keyboard over mouse to the point that they use the keyboard almost exclusively. There is even
Yeah.
like Vim bindings for the browser as a Chrome extension that you can navigate your websites without using the mouse or whatever. So I was wondering whether you share that sentiment and you don't really worry about sort of micro optimization when it comes to that.
I use Wimperator too, at least on my home computer. Like I actually don't use it on my work computer because too often it like overshadows some other hotkeys or so, and I need to test a lot of screens and stuff like this. So I honestly just like, I appreciate all of it, and I haven't, but like I feel it would be a worthwhile challenge basically only using a mouse. Like with something like for a while, I could probably do my job either way. I don't see it as, on the margins, I think it does increase productivity, but to me, it actually just increases joy. I like the difference between a honed-in computer and one that isn't is the same difference as like, I don't know, your own living room, your own apartment compared to a hotel room, right? Like it's like it's designed to be generic and work for everyone, and that's a specific like. I do think consensus is the opposite of making decisions. I think consensus is what you do when no one wants to make a decision, and you look for a best set of trade-offs given what people still agree to, and that's usually a hotel room. I know there's some edgy boutique hotels that are a little bit different, but this is also why people appreciate them. I want to think dialed in for me because, again, I'm a tool maker and a tool user, and I actually apprenticed as a tool maker. Even like I just apprenticed as a computer programmer in Germany, which is what you can do. So I'm literally coming from a heritage in my thinking that started like thousands of years ago and involved like blacksmiths and all the other trades. And blacksmith specifically, I feel a great deal of kinship with as a computer programmer, because blacksmiths before computer programmers, they were only other tool makers who also created their own tools. The tools to create tools are made by other blacksmiths, or usually by themselves. That is what makes programming so interesting, because you get to make the tools that then allow you to make better tools and ratchet up sort of the stack. I take this very seriously, and I just like, there's something really, really wonderful about having things dialed in. That is, I don't think needs to be justified in terms of time saved and productivity, although I think those end up being true as well. But I think partly come from simply that you should want to use a thing more that like is bespoke for you.
Back in March, you tweeted a memo that you shared with your company that you believe it's an expectation of every employee to leverage AI for their work. And when I think about AI, I think it's a very broad term now. So I'm curious about what does that mean? What does that bit of your memo, what does it mean for different disciplines within your team? Because for developers, I think it's more clear that we're using Cursor, we're using Claude Code, we're using Codex. But what about everybody else? What are the areas that you see AI helping them be the 10 times themselves?
A little bit of context on Shopify of today. It's like it's about 8,000 people company, public company. Like even like a company is basically a tool to make a product. Itself, and I think actually companies themselves are underutilized, like are understudied. Putting a company together well is hard. In fact, probably hasn't been done very many times before in history. We've made companies that worked and companies that caused their purpose to be fulfilled and the products to be made. But are they actually good? We don't know, because we don't know what it truly looks like. We know that companies of today are significantly more productive than companies in the past. So over time, we're meandering into to better planes of existence there. But like I'm in a very fortunate position because I get to play in this realm of trying to figure out how to build a better company in general. If it's so lucky to, as an independent company, to live to an age of like see 100 years of business history, I want to try to build something of so much sustainability and that it can accomplish this. For that, you have to study how companies die, because I mean, obviously, the number one priority for anyone who wants to build a company that can last 100 years is not die in any of the previous 99. So the way companies die is not usually in like one big event. It's usually through a march towards irrelevancy, and then probably a little bit of bad luck afterwards. Often, companies end up becoming excellent implementations of how people used to need a problem solved rather than excellent solutions to solving a problem. This happens usually around platform shifts. Obviously, I'm fortunate because I've seen many platform shifts. I've seen like the internet come to town, which sounds ridiculous. I've seen just us sort of finalizing the CSS that you studied in the 2000s. Just suddenly we had like a framework for how to think about how to make websites that will last and that are maintainable. I think AI is the biggest of the platform shifts. It's so helping my company, helping everyone in the company to think about this right. Like, because it's just like, it's really, really important that people don't take the sort of wait and see approach, because this might be going away. That is like not possible. We have to help each other, like, understand how our jobs are going to evolve. And I think that's so I sent a memo to a company, just said that very plainly. It's like, hey, we will require you to show up to various key events in a company to sort of parts of a ritual, like headcount planning, for instance, or performance performance cycles, where you have to think about AI. You have to say you have to say you have tried to do a thing with AI, and before you ask for more heads for a team. And it's not even just because we don't want to hire people. In fact, we do. It's because we want to use these moments to try things. Like, we want you to actually, even if you know this AI can't do this thing, but I'm going to ask it, try it, and then confirm that it's actually true. Can't do the thing, and then you can continue, and maybe you have a fun story to tell about how severely it failed doing this thing. But the next time new models come out, you now have a test that you can run and see if now it's good enough, because we all need to have a accurate world model of a current set of capabilities for AI, because it's changing rapidly, more so than any other of these cases. To your question of different jobs, so what we have found is actually obviously it's very well documented how much engineers are now using AI, but it is really in all jobs. that we found really, really remarkable. Like I've published on X one example of our customer support team. We have something called PSN, Product Support Network. Their job is to basically listen to everything that our customers are doing and or asking for. So get sort of a vibe of the feature requests, how new launches are doing. Also observe what the company is launching and soon, and write the docs for it, like sort of the two-way communication between the two sides, so that our support staff is prepared for the new feature launches and so on. That's not engineers in that team, but yet with the vibe coding tools of today, they build MCP servers to be able to reach into all the customer conversations, into the video recordings that we do with customer interviews, into the tickets in various systems like Salesforce and others, into our help desk software, and like pull it all together into indexes, and give an MCP called Scout the ability to just like easily reach into all those. And Scout is one of the most used tools now. It's like integrated into our company chat. You can ask it like hey, for this particular project with this ID, because all our projects are in an individual system, but it also has an MCP to get. Figure out, we've launched this a couple of weeks ago, figure out what all the people are saying and factor it out by the size of the stores of people who give the feedback. And it will create an entire report just sort of identically going, like we've never had any such thing. It's an absolutely insane thing, and every company should build it. But the crazy thing is like this was built by non-engineers who because it was built because they had a deep appreciation of a problem domain that they were working in. And now they can create their reports at a completely different level, a completely different depth, with a completely different set of predictabilities. And I think it's remarkable.
I think this is a good moment for us to start like seeing some of this stuff. You've talked about a lot how you think about things. If I could ask you, just start nice and slow for everybody here watching, if you could just open up Raycast right now. Like how did you do that? What hotkey did you use?
Oh, I'm doing this stuff. I override the like command space.
Command space, like me. We are purists. So far, yes, exactly. we're the same. But now, just looking at your Raycast, I just want to have a quick scan, because I feel like when people open their Raycast, it's already telling me a lot of things, right? And I can already see here that you make use of favorites. Then you have the set input and set output device, which, by the way, 2 excellent commands. I use them basically every day. You have fixed audio. I'm very curious about what that is. And then, of course, the suggestion is based on your usage, right? So, yeah, Google Calendar, is it Hypernotes?
Hypernote is like a tool I'm trying. It's like notes and audio transcription, but like it's all local.
We can talk about this later maybe as well. All right, I just wanted to do an initial scan here, but yeah, it looks good. I'm very happy you don't have the onboarding command, which a lot of people still have.
Yeah.
All right, so is there, do you want to maybe start by showing us something?
I mean, it sounds silly, but like, I mean, I run this here a lot, so fixed audio is really just it's actually a Ruby script that basically does what I used to use always these guys, because I find it ridiculous how default devices are being chosen on OS X. It's just like, I tend to sit down and have like one Thunderbolt cable to my laptop and connect it, and then all the systems are working and I have a camera and so on. But like the audio device is like, you can set a favorite, and therefore every time you move, it just kind of reverts to basically something random. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Like every Monday morning, my first 3 meetings, I bet you end up in this like, can you hear me dance?
Yeah.
Where clearly the way operating systems should do this is by having a priority list. So this is basically what fixed audio just does. It's like I can show you what it does. It's just like, here's like the devices in my different places in a priority list, and output devices, and then it just like goes through it and switches to it, which actually is something that I think Raycast might be implementing. Anyway,
yeah, that's really nice.
Maybe it should. Rather, like what I really do is I bind the tools I need to hotkeys. I think when I go here, like for instance Slack here, my top use things like logsex, cursor are bound to hyperkey 1, and that's actually, I think the team allowed me to request some changes to hyperkey. I use the Raycast hyperkey feature, and thanks very much, because include shift in hyperkey, I think, was added after request. So I bind hyperkey to caps lock, and then I have it not include shift. This allows me to double bind some things. Like, for instance, Slack is for me is hyperkey free, and then I just started, and then WhatsApp is hyperkey shift free. So it allows me to have a modifier. So in my muscle memory, free is communication, and external people usually are on WhatsApp. So
I think you kind of gave the feature suggestion of hyperkey.
May have been.
Yeah, you was 100%. I remember it was back in 2022 or 2023. You had like a feature suggestion, and so then you also contributed to the shift. So that's cool. I didn't know about the shift stuff, so that's nice. And I like how you're mapping it to numbers. Like 1, 2, 3.
It just it allows me to get around really fast, right? I had again, shift 1 is cursor right now. Google Meet, which is our internal tool, is 4. So what I almost always do is I use the window management a lot. So I like hyperkey 1 left right lets me move them, and I think this was actually a request I did too. When I do go to left, it goes here, it gives half a screen.
Yeah.
If I do it again, it gives me the 66% view, and then it can also go into a smaller one.
Yeah.
So this way I can just go and get this on the screen if that's what I want.
Yeah.
And then hyperkey 1. Oh, apparently I have a error here. It's gives me ghost. Hyperkey 1 gives me ghosty, which I put aside. Hyperkey space puts the screen in the middle, just sort of as a thing. With shift, it goes full screen. So
yeah,
and then if I have add shift to left, right, up, then I can move them around. So
which one is that? How do you move it to the quarters?
I do shift, just again, hyperkey left, right is sides, and then with shift it goes quarters.
Oh, I really like that. This whole idea of using hyperkey with shift is giving me so many new ideas right now. And I also want to take this moment to thank you for this feature request, because I talk about cycling in window management so much in our videos. It's literally one of the best features of window management, because you can remove so many hotkeys and just rely on cycling alone. And your initial suggestion was to cycle across thirds, halves, and quarters. And I think we only have halves and thirds, if I remember correctly, but it still gets the job done most of the time.
It'd be useful for this if we could if you like my feature request, you can if you could sort by hotkey, then I could show you everything that I hotkey.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. So if you click on that little filter icon on the top to the right of this, and then you go show only customized. That's it. Right, and then it's only the ones you've
done. Not that much. But,
yeah, it's true.
I wonder why it doesn't show. Oh, because
they're grouped, and you have it kind of groups them under the parent command.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see your hotkeys now.
These are hotkeys I use here. What is it? Left, right half is I think here. Yeah, exactly. Cycle. Yeah. I think this is the ideal one.
This is enough. Yeah, exactly. This is enough. This is so good. Honestly, it just made window management so much better.
And yeah, it would be nice if you could type in here what how much gap we want. But hey,
stay tuned.
I just keep a request coming.
Stay tuned, because the whole preferences window is getting a whole design revamp. So you're gonna like the new one. I have to be careful not to leak too many things here. A while ago, you actually sent a $5,000 bonus to a contributor of Chromium for implementing this dash focus parameter. And when I saw that tweet, because you actually mentioned that now you can, the reason for that is that it allows you to open a website from the command line or from Raycast. But I'm curious, like, what is that for? Or what's the use case?
It's exactly this. So, like, again, one of the nice things, this works really well in OS X, is like if I'm like somewhere and I lost my window again with like Google Meet, again, for me it's a hotkey, and then I get back to it, right? But OS X does this really well, where even a web app or like any app you have, and you click, when you open it multiple times through Raycast, the first interaction will, and this works also when you click the icons. It's just OS X doing it. That first click gets you the tool in the foreground. It starts it if it is not started already, and if you do it again, it toggles it away into hiding, and then it gets it back. Right, so that's really good. I do almost all the websites that are like I mean, Google Meet is just a website, right? Like, it's like, this is a like if you open Chrome, I think you can do this still. They always try to hide this feature for some reason, but I think if you create name window, is it? I'm not actually sure if that's the way to do it still. No. It used to be then save it as an icon. I actually forgot how they allow you to do it now. I do it for a command line, so I'm sure you can look it up. But in the end, what you have is an executable for launching it, and then in this case, it removes the Chrome bar and like stuff, and it just looks like a normal application here. Like for ChatGPT or so, I have like this. It's much nicer to use it as a as a web app. I know they have a downloadable app, but
okay. So you are basically taking a website and saving it as an executable, so you can assign a hotkey to that specific website.
This here is basically how you do this from a command line. On OS X, I think you can sort of reach into the Chrome executable. I forgot. I think it's maybe actually good. Okay, nice. Thank you, ZH. So yes, and you can go like and everyone with Chrome can do this on a terminal right now. It's like you can go applications Chrome into the app /contents, whereas Google Chrome is an executable. It's probably a useful thing to symlink to a binary folder. But then you can do --app and Google Meet, and you get basically this, right? Like, this is exactly sort of what you have, what I have over here. This is now an own application. All this to say, what's missing? This was a bounty I set that to create a focus command that also works, where you can give it like the same a URL, maybe with a sub URL, anything like this. And what that does is, before it actually goes and creates the app, like, first of all, it makes sure Chrome is started. Second, it then goes and checks focus. If you have a tab anywhere in any of your browsers that matches the URL that you've passed in, it will bring that browser to the front and brings that tab to the focus. So it's a full search. You know, like, everyone who has like sometimes Chrome with like or browsers with like 50 tabs open or so knows this problem. If you really look, like 30 of them end up being Google Docs or whatever. To me, this is one of the things that makes the browser so unlike the normal applications, only partially mitigated through turning them into apps in this way that I'm showing here. And I think will just be a real boon to, like, I think from Raycast, they'll be able to give commands that are, you know, much better than searching through tabs, right? Like, instead of, I don't even have search tabs here right now. Chrome, show profiles, ask Chrome, search tabs. So, you know, like that you can do and then and find them. But it's going to be much easier now to just say, hey, I need to be in this for my meeting here that like needs to be automatically opened. To get into this meeting, if it says a meeting attached, I just want to do this like I like if it's already open anywhere, switch me there. Otherwise, make a new browser that to join it. And that's currently very hard to implement.
Wow,
So,
that's very cool.
Okay, so a long explanation for a very basic feature, but like, oops. But it's I cared enough about it to document it, write it out, and see if anyone's willing to implement it. And someone did, which is awesome.
Amazing. Oh man, that's so cool. Honestly, I feel like we need to see how we can implement it a bit better in Raycast that allows you to pass arguments.
I think what you will probably try to do is like run it by default, right? Like just for default for things like opening a Meet tab or something. Like it's a good example. There's more of those, but like in certain instances, it's just best to like the user only they want to get into the meeting. They don't really want specifically a new tab somewhere or a new window of the browser. So like this sort of does that. Yeah,
100%. It's almost like you have to sometimes predict what's the thing that makes the most sense. Like what's the shortest route. At the beginning of this interview, at the beginning of this chat, you were saying how you're a tool maker. And it's funny because even the way you use Raycast is very much that way. You're not necessarily using all of the built-in features, which, to be fair, nobody does. But you are making a lot of things that work for you. And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I really like programming, but I just like don't do production code for Shopify, right? Like, so it's like they do not want my code to break when I'm traveling and whatnot. So yeah, like a lot of what I do is just like tiny little tools for myself. I mean, which, again, that's kind of the entire thing for me. Whenever there's like a thing that's not ideal, then you can just do something about it. That's a nice thing about programmable systems, right? Like, and I love how the scripts are implemented in Raycast. I think it's actually deeply insightful to just have like a set of magic comments in the beginning that have metadata, and appreciate that I can write them in Ruby, which is what I want to spend my time writing stuff in. So it's great.
Yeah, scripts is great. Compared to extensions, they are a little bit less capable in some ways. There are less UI that you can use, and they're not so easy to share through the store. But for solving like your own problems, like scripts is definitely a really good solution for that. Toby, thank you so much, man, for coming on. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to see how you use Raycast. Thank you so much.
Sweet. That was fun. Good. Thank you very much.